Before we jump in, a quick note to our listeners. This is the Neighbourly Headlines Christmas Special. We're wrapping up the year with a handful of good news stories, the kind that remind us that hope isn't cancelled even when life is busy, noisy, or cold enough to freeze your eyebrows. After today, Neighbourly will take a short break for the holidays, and we'll be back in January with a brand new Neighbourly story hosted by Shannon. And trust me, it's a good one. You'll want to tune in. So enjoy the season, savor the slower pace, and maybe catch up with some episodes if you haven't listened to them yet. And we will see you again in the new year. Sometimes the best parts of Christmas aren't wrapped in ribbon or tucked under a tree. They're the small acts of dignity, generosity, and good humor that remind us why this season still carries a shimmer of hope. Today, we're unwrapping a few stories from across Canada where neighbors stepped in, showed up, and made the holidays just a little bit brighter. Let's get right into our stories. The toy store that trades shame for dignity. The Salvation Army in Weyburn, Saskatchewan has reimagined Christmas giving. Instead of the old adoptive family model where some families receive more than others, they've created a pop-up toy store. Parents now personally choose toys for their kids from shelves stocked entirely with brand new donated items. Volunteers act as personal shoppers while families receive wrapping paper to prepare gifts with pride. The model brings dignity, equity, and a touch of joy back into Christmas morning. Generosity without dignity can feel like charity, but generosity that restores dignity feels like love. And that's what this team is offering. It mirrors the heart of Christmas, giving in a way that honors the person, not the problem. Now let's get into our next story. The giving tree grows in Riverview. 16-year-old Sophie noticed the strain families are facing this year and decided to do something about it. She launched the Giving Tree Project, a digital angel tree system where families submit wish lists and neighbors select a child to support. With her mom acting as chauffeur, Sophie's been collecting gifts, coordinating sponsors, and building a wave of local generosity that already helped 27 kids and is still growing. What began as a school project has become a community-wide Christmas tradition. Sometimes leadership looks like a boardroom. Other times it looks like a teenager with Wi-Fi and a heart that refuses to sit still. It's the kind of kindness that echoes the Christmas story itself. Light arriving in unexpected places through unexpected people. Before we get into our last story, it's time for Neighborhood Watch, the part of the show where community life gets a little messy. Because sometimes being a good neighbor means putting up with the quirky and strange, and sometimes we are that person. The Great Saskatchewan Surrender. Ditto lights win Christmas. In Warman, Saskatchewan, one neighbor's 15,000 light Christmas display became so spectacular that his next-door neighbors finally waved the white flag of surrender, or rather the glowing sign of surrender. They built a giant illuminated ditto sign, complete with a bright arrow pointing straight at his house. Instead of rivalry, the whole street erupted in laughter, and the moment went viral. Together, their two displays became a local attraction. A shared celebration instead of a competition. This is what happens when comparison steps aside and humor takes the lead. A neighborhood becomes a community. A joke becomes a joy everyone can share. It's the kind of peace on earth moment that doesn't need a sermon, just a well-lit arrow. And now for a final story of the day. Snow angels on standby. With winter settling in, Central Alberta is inviting residents to become snow angels. Neighbors who shovel not only their own walkways, but someone else's too. Through the Snow Angels Canada website, volunteers can register to offer help or request it. The idea is simple and wildly Canadian. A bit of goodwill, a cleared walkway, and a reminder that winter is easier when we look out for one another. Shoveling is one of Canada's unofficial spiritual disciplines. Cold, inconvenient, and strangely capable of building community one cleared sidewalk at a time. Sometimes grace arrives disguised as someone else's snow shovel. You see, Christmas has a way of pulling us back to what matters. These stories, parents choosing gifts with dignity, teens leading with compassion, neighbors trading rivalry for laughter, and everyday snow angels making winter survivable. They remind me that the season isn't about perfection, it's about presence. It's about showing up in the small, ordinary ways that quietly say, you are not alone. And maybe that's the invitation this year. Notice the nudge, follow it, and offer the kind of kindness that doesn't need to be big to be holy. These headlines remind us that good news is still all around us, if we take the time to notice. Do you have a story of care happening in your neighborhood? Share it at neighbourlypodcast.ca or join our Care Impact podcast group on Facebook. Neighbourly is an initiative of Care Impact, a Canadian charity equipping churches, agencies, and communities with tech and training to care better together. Learn more at careimpact.ca. I'm Johan Heinrichs, and this has been Neighbourly Headlines, because every story of care deserves to be seen and shared.
Turning over tables,